Good afternoon. First of all, we are very thankful for being in here. We are the body percussion orchestra from Conservatório Artallis, and we will present to you two music pieces. First one is called Bring Me a Little Water, Sylvie. The second one is called Babayeto. We hope that you enjoy as much as we do. Thanks.
Baba yetu yetu niye mbinguni yetu yetu amina. Baba yetu niye jina lako litukuzwe.
Baba yetu niye mbinguni yetu amina. Baba yetu niye jina lako litukuzwe.
Utupe leo chakula chetu, tunatuhitaji utusamehe makosa yetu, kama nasi tunawasamehe waliotukosea, usitutie katika majaribu, lakini
Baba yetu niye mbinguni yetu amina. Baba yetu niye jina lako litukuzwe. Baba yetu niye mbinguni yetu amina. Baba yetu niye jina lako litukuzwe.
utupe leo chakula chetu, tunatuhitaji utusamehe makosa yetu, kama nasi tunawasamehe waliotukosea, usitutie katika majaribu, lakini utuokoe. Ulele.
Welcome everyone to the closing session. We're feeling so many feelings. You know, it's so great to see you all here. But we didn't want to close this event with some announcements, or at least to share some thoughts and some actions that have been coming out from last edition of our event, others that are coming out from this one. And the good thing is that these are just some of the examples of all the projects that I've been watching and seeing other people in this world gathering during 3 days, because that's what this gathering is about. So, like I was saying, very quickly, because I want to leave most of the time to our guests here on stage, is that the power of cooperation, as we've been talking since the opening session until now, it is actually something that has to be put it on action every day. We need to see how we can create synergies, and I think that also comes from some personal development and auditing to understand what exactly can I bring of value to the world, what exactly I'm not, but I can bring partners and a network of colleagues that can build ambitious projects towards sustainability, regeneration, so that we can actually achieve what sustainability is, which is balance and quality of life for everyone. And one of the challenges that we have made that are very, very ambitious, but usually for us, they're directly, the proportional directly related ambition with motivation, because as more ambitious it is, more motivated we are to bring it to life, is one that we challenge Savills to build with us, and that I'll leave Patrícia to show exactly what are we designing for the next future, which afterwards will be a platform to then bring all the other partners, such as Católica and other partners, to build what Patrícia will share with you. I don't want to spoil. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for these 3 days, Sérgio. And Sérgio likes challenges, as you may see, because in the last 3 days we could see how you like challenges. So firstly, I would like to ask for an applause to Sérgio, his team, and all the stakeholders of Gathering Planetiers. So Sérgio challenged Savills to study a space as a hub, that we call it a hub, but I prefer to call it a community for sustainability. I think in the end of the day is our dream. So the first point that we need to accomplish, if it's a community, is for people. If it's for sustainability, has to be sustainable. So for sustainable purpose, this community must have mobility solutions, biodiversity experience, rehabilitation spaces and buildings, and also to have fun and education on sustainability, because our children will perform much better than us on that point, so we need to teach them. So all of this is a co-creation. So this space, and the big challenge is create a space where people can feel inspired to do good things for the world. I will give you a brief of the project, of the pre-design that we have, because it's only that so far. So the main look and feel that we wanted to introduce was something like to have a local for presentations, as this one, but to be outside, to be natural, to feel natural, to have water, to have green, to have spaces that calls for diversity with different layers. Also, we need, if we want a community, we need a community to live and to work. So we want to have co-working spaces, outside, inside, with shadows, with plants, with all the environment that inspires us about our world and what it can bring to us. So all these spaces also have to have sustainability materials. We also need, if we want to have people living or staying there, we need an hotel. We need a space for people to stay, to be and to feel and to maintain themselves some days there. So we think we can design, because we didn't design yet, but we are inspiring ourselves to design an hotel also with all these features as water, natural spaces, natural materials, sustainable materials. So once again, we are involving all the community in the sustainable purpose. We also need, as a sustainable community, we need to feed ourselves with a local small community for food, to bring us the vegetables, all the food that we can have, but let's keep it local. Let's try to have in the surroundings places where we can find our food, once again, inspired by sustainable purposes. And if we want to inspire our children, inspire the youth, I think they like camping. So something as a glamping space, as a parking space, not only for children, but for everyone, people to walk, to making sports, to feel the well-being of this space. An active garden for the children, for example, and all the spaces that I mentioned before. A sensor gardening. We need to feel all these. So we need to create several areas of gardening, even vegetable gardening, flowers, all the things that can bring us this sustainable feeling again. So we will insist on this because we need to. And this kind of parks also is for sports, as I mentioned before. So create the inspiration and the motivation to do sports for the youth and for the senior people. The platform over water must be also natural, not in concrete, but in a sustainable environment. And that we need to look for an area that has a natural water resource. The outdoor market is something as an exhibition area to the people that go there, can show all their projects and to inspire the others. Once again, the community working for themselves. So this was our inspiration. We actually want to create not only this, but I'm sure that in the future, many people, as the people that got together and gathered to create all these ideas, these experiences, this sharing knowledge in these 3 days, I believe that something good will come. So more news soon. Isn't it, Sérgio? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrícia. That's it. And we're really working hard on bringing this space into life because we need to bring life to the spaces, to the cities, to bring communities for these senses or feelings of that we feel that we can reconnect with nature, we can have a space to co-create, and we can actually gather these partners, like you were saying. They're gathering in time here at this event, but we need to gather also in space. How we can actually bring into a space the cooperation that we need for a sustainable and regenerative future. And that brings also to the next conversation, my dear friend and co-leader of the Planetiers, new generation, António Vasconcelos and Manuela Pintado, to explain what has been built since the Planetiers World Gathering 2020. António, Manuela?
Thank you,
Yeah.
Sérgio. What you have listened now is the power of partnerships. Partnerships with a lot of purpose. So let me, first of all, congratulate this partner. Savills, fantastic work. You know, you are in our hearts. Let me present another very strong partnership that we have that is officially unfolding along the last year. We have created Planetiers, as created together with Católica, Porto, the Biotech school and the business school. We have created together a hub that is called Innovation in Sustainability and Regeneration. And let me explain very quickly what this is about. The aim is to promote circular, sustainable, and regenerative business solutions which are powered by disruptive innovation and technology. Not innovation for the sake of innovation without purpose. It has to do with purpose, we do with limits, working within limits for the sake of humanity. One thing that makes us, we believe, makes us completely unique, in Portugal at least, is a system view of sustainable business. What does it mean? It means that instead of the typical triple bottom line, which I call the Olympic circles, which intersect slightly, in which business is slightly in conjunction or overlapped with the environment and with social, we work in a completely different way. We use science, the best science in the world, to look at business completely surrounded by social and all completely surrounded by the planet. This changes completely the way of looking at the business, and the business is at the core. Sustainability is not an extra thing. Sustainability is part of a system of equations. Planetiers and partners, with a coalition of international partners, several you saw along these 3 days, together with Católica faculty members, researchers and partners, which are local, regional, national and international, we bring together this leadership in sustainability, in disruptive knowledge, in education, all those elements. So if you look here, you see what is called a quadruple helix hub for broad impact. What does it mean? First, to advise business and public entities in their evolution. So with leaders in their organizations, in their value chains, transform profoundly the way business is done. Second, on the right, we promote sustainable and regenerative entrepreneurship. And this entrepreneurship can be with entrepreneurs, standalone, or can be those entrepreneurs connected with the business, with the corporations, because we need to bring much more, adventures, innovation to corporations, to business leaders. Third, convey disruptive training and education, and you'll see in a moment the first course being launched together with Planetiers, with Católica, Business School and Biotech early next year. And the fourth, very important, we see here the kids, the youth that were acting here. They are in our hearts, and it's very, very key to work with them and for them. So these 3 days were about education. Why? Because we want to launch education programs, and Católica is supporting with the Faculty of Education and Psychology, plus other elements. Now I pass to Manuela Pintado. She is the lead scientist, if I can call like that, at Católica Porto, Biotechnology School. Manuela, you are responsible for our presence here with you,
Okay.
with Católica.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think, thank you. It's really a pleasure to be here because 1 year ago, I think or 2 years ago, we were start discussing how can we join 3 main areas, so different, business, biotech, and then all this systemic thinking of Planetiers. And it happens last year in October when we start launching our program in INSURE. And we invite several companies at that moment. And we could spend 1 day with them and a dinner discussing about this topic, what is sustainability, what you need in your company. In fact, sometimes the word sustainability can fit everywhere, but in fact, are you doing sustainability in your company? Are you dressing every day? Everyone is dressing sustainability. So, and this was we did starting last year, start talking with companies, municipalities, different entities that want to discuss with us. And here we have for now more than 40 companies that joined this program, INSURE, and have been discussing with us and that want to have this project together. Why joining to INSURE? In fact, many reasons, because as I think António said before, we have so many pillars that are really important for sustainability in a company, in any entity. And that's why we believe that these companies are joining us at this moment because they want an innovative technology to regenerate their waste streams, or they want to have all the complete systemic analysis, or they need to understand how this sustainability can make the difference in the leadership, or even more, they have been joining us because they need training. And that's why we believe that this partnership, all together, we can make the difference. And these companies also trust us, and we believe that in the coming months, we'll be enlarging our group, collaborative group. So these faces, in fact, we have highlighted me, João Pinto, and António, because probably we start our first meetings discussing and joining all together, but of course behind us and on the side everywhere, we have very important people that are now collaborating with us. We are just here the highlighted faces, but in fact, the team is really important. So we have people from business school, people, very important people from Planetiers, and also from biotech school, because we are a multidisciplinary team, and they are all very important for us, and we believe that we can do a great work and a great team. And just to say that last year was really a very important event, because we were all together with 90 companies discussing this topic. And we believe that we need to replicate every year. So that's why this year we'll have the second INSURE meeting, where we invite all of you. We'll be all together, biotech, Planetiers, and business school, and of course all the partners. I hope you can visit us there. But the important thing is to continue discussing. And more than discuss is to start creating and making specific action that can make the difference in these companies and partners that are together with us. And of course, because we felt since last year that training was really important. We have different training programs, but sometimes we need quite tailor-made programs to understand this concept of sustainability, regeneration, where we are, leadership. So that's why we were creating this new program, the Innovation for Sustainability and Regeneration Business Postgraduate course, that in fact will have different modules combining the different important pillars for these topics, and that will be starting all together as a very strong partnership in January. And that's, I think this is a partnership that we hope to grow, and that we can engage more and more partners in order to make sustainability, regeneration, not just a thinking, but also an action for future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manuela. Such a pleasure to work with you. And we need people not only that are professional, and they do very well what they do, but we need people in the same wave of, I would say, the wave of vision, of thinking, and mindset. Because you really have to have this same mindset to feel that we need to be practical, but you can dream, but you can be practical. And that balance is very important when you're bringing these cooperations into practice. Thank you so much for joining us again one more time, and we'll see you very soon. Thank you. Thank you. Before I leave the stage, let me just make an introduction of our next speaker, which we have the honor to introduce Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, as a closing speaker of the Planetiers World Gathering. It's the first time that President Ursula von der Leyen participates in a Portuguese event like ours, with the aim to inspire Europe to be better than it is and achieve the next generation goals for the 2030-2050 agenda. As the head of the European Executive, she has defined 6 headline ambitions for Europe for her mandate: a European Green Deal, a Europe fit for the digital age, an economy that works for people, a stronger Europe in the world, promoting our European way of life, and the new push for European democracy. It's time to be inspired by this leader, the woman who has the vision for a strong union, an ideal, a unique soul and responsibilities towards the planet. Join us, please, Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission. Thank you.
Dear distinguished guests, dear fellow Planetiers, hello to Lisbon and to the world. I'm delighted to address you today at the Planetiers World Gathering, a gathering of dreamers and makers. We need to be both, to lead by example and heal our planet. We are championing new business models, new sustainable solutions, new ways of giving back to nature. In Europe, we call this transformation the European Green Deal. Our goal is to give confidence and to show that a low-carbon future is possible, to give citizens the confidence to change their ways, to give companies the certainty they need to innovate and progress, and of course to look beyond Europe's borders. The European Union is committed to support developing countries in becoming multipliers of green technologies and thus leapfrogging into a sustainable future. Because we believe that we are most convincing and successful in the fight against climate change when we do it in a spirit of innovation and cooperation. Together, this is how we build a more sustainable future for Europe and the world. Now, much has happened in the 3 years since we first announced the European Green Deal. A global pandemic, a vicious war, but our commitment to the green transition has only grown stronger. Today, I would like to focus on 3 lessons we have learned so far in 3 years of European Green Deal. The first lesson is both nature and science are talking to us. We have to listen, and we have to stay the course. They're talking not only through devastating droughts and the extreme weather events we're all experiencing. COVID-19 was another warning sign. But when the pandemic first hit, some said, we don't have the resources to fight COVID-19 and climate change at the same time. We need to concentrate all resources on fighting the economic impact of the pandemic. Let's take a break on the European Green Deal. My answer was and is no. The opposite is true. A deadly virus jumped from animals to human beings. And this will happen more frequently if the loss of biodiversity continues. So slowing down our climate action would have been a mistake of historic proportions. So we stayed the course. And by the summer of 2020, at the height of the pandemic, our European Union had agreed to create an unprecedented pandemic recovery fund. We call it Next Generation EU. And we agreed that 40% of its 800 billion euros would go towards climate action and other investments in more sustainability, in renewable energy and new technologies like green hydrogen, cement and steel, or into nature-based solutions like reforestation and greening cities, and into training and empowering citizens with the skills they need to build a circular economy. We decided to turn the crisis into an opportunity to break the distinction between business and sustainability. And we need to keep up the momentum to mend the relationship between people and planet. The second lesson has to do with our dependence on fossil fuels, oil, coal, gas. Russia's war against Ukraine has painfully exposed this dependence. Therefore, the transition towards clean energy is not just good for nature, but also for the strength of our democracies. Because a Europe that has homegrown renewable energy sources is in a much better position to stand up for democratic values and human rights in Ukraine and on the world stage. With Repower EU, we are not just diversifying our energy supply away from Russia and cutting back on consumption. We are accelerating the rollout of renewables, sun, wind, biomass, and geothermal. For example, the European Union has proposed a legal obligation to install solar panels on all new buildings. We have doubled our production targets for green hydrogen, for use in energy-intensive sectors. And we are speeding up permits for major projects like offshore wind farms in the Baltic and North Sea. We have come to understand what's good for the planet is also good for peace and security in Europe. But we are only getting started. The road to our destination will face many more obstacles, and that leads me to the third lesson. We need to stick together as a community, as individuals with common values, as Planetiers. In these last 3 years, the European Union has shown that we can hold our green course, even when faced with very difficult decisions. But the change we need is only possible if we act together. And that is something that you know better than anyone else. Each and every one of you leads by example on climate action. Among your ranks are activists who are building a global network to protect everyone's right to clean water. Educators who are teaching democratic values and ecological awareness across Latin America. Acclaimed scientists and academics who have changed the way we think about climate solutions, and entrepreneurs and engineers who are putting these ideas into practice. Inspiring individuals, each with your own story. But we share one message. Our societies can flourish without putting future generations at risk, if we choose to listen to nature and lead by example. And I believe our democratic institutions should lead by example too. Every action that we take should be inspired by a simple principle: that we should do no harm to our children's future. That we should leave the world a better place for the next generation. And therefore I have proposed to enshrine solidarity between generations in the fundamental treaties of the European Union. To restore confidence in our future. To promise to new generations that tomorrow will be better than today. To affirm that we are in this together. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for the example you set and for the hope you inspire. The European Union is at your side today and on the road ahead.
I don't know. I think this is probably the most challenging speech that I'll ever give after what I've heard. Such an honor to have the European Commission President sharing these words. And it really makes us believe that all the effort and energy that this whole team of the organizers of the Planetiers World Gathering has been put into this platform that we wanted to create for everyone to share their ideas, share their knowledge, their innovations, that they're worth it. We always believed that they were worth it. It really warms our hearts to know that there are actually something happening when we bring together those three dimensions of knowledge, innovation, and inspiration. We can't undervalue inspiration. I think that probably just one thing could make me feel more honored than seeing these words from the European Commission, from Tourism of Portugal. I have to thanks again Tourism of Portugal for all the vision that we shared and support. As all the partners such as CNN Portugal, TVI or JCDecaux, and the companies that were building with us not only this event, but the road ahead, such as Savills, such as Loba, with the European Climate Pact, or SAP, that is spreading this message all around the world. But just one more thing, I think it makes me feel so honored, or as honored as these words that I've heard from all these partners. And I think it's some words that I've heard for the most unexpected attendees and participants of this event. There were actually kids and youth, like António was mentioning, that were saying that when I grow up, I want to work with Planetiers. It's something that actually makes us believe that, okay, we're building something that is inspiring. Because when you do something that you want, the results are 10 times, or something that you're passionate about, they're 10 times bigger or more impactful, right? Than something that you just do because you have to. And you always have some price to pay. Either is your time for yourself, for family, for friends, for work. There's something. So why not spend this whole time that we have to work, put all the effort, go the ups and downs the whole way for something that we're passionate about? Because what is sustainability, right? What exactly is sustainability? We have all these guidelines and frameworks that we have to use to help on the roadmap, to help on the strategy. But when you think of it, we're doing this because we're fighting for quality of life, ours and other species. The planet will stay. I've heard a lot of this, the planet will stay. But it's quality of life, and it's not survival. We can fight for survival. We have to, but I think the goal is higher. Let's try to find a way to live with quality, with happiness. And I think there's nothing bigger than that. There isn't. And I would just like to say that, to end, that probably the most important thing that I do and always suggest, it's self-audit myself. It's what will I think of myself? Or what will Sérgio think in 10 years or 20 years or 50 years of what he has done his whole life, right? Try to backcast. Was it worth it? And I think there's nothing that is more worth than fighting to leave a legacy that stays, and you'll know that the next generations will at least thank you and will appreciate. And I will feel that I've done our jobs. So I would just leave this to all of you, which is, what's the legacy that you want to leave? Can we build a legacy together so that in the next decades, everyone looks back and say, they did all they can, and I'll tell you what I believe. And they did it. Thank you so much for joining us for these 3 days. Let's follow up with all of these conversations, because this is just the beginning. It's the end of the event. It's the beginning of the transformation. We'll see you next year and have news very soon. Thank you so much. Thank you.